Hey guys, it's Franz from Medmastery, and this is the first time that I'm doing a live stream. So nobody's online yet, so let's see how that goes. How fast people are actually going to join. So we're doing a live stream. I've never done this before. I'm quite curious how this is going to turn out. So I see that a couple of people start joining. So thanks for joining. I'm Franz. I'm the founder of Medmastery. And this is my first live stream. And in this live stream, I would like to answer your questions. Should you have any questions about Medmastery, I would like to answer them. If you don't have any answers about questions about Medmastery, then I would like to just talk to you about medical online education and what you can do in order to become a great online teacher. So I think if you haven't realized it already, Medmastery is all about producing great teaching videos, online teaching videos for doctors. We're teaching you essential clinical skills. And video teaching has become the default mode for teaching in a lot of institutions. Like if you take Stanford Medical School, Yale Medical School, these universities have already moved to video-based education, and they call it flipped classroom. And flipped classroom means that what has traditionally been taught in the lecture hall should be taught in video at home, and what's traditionally been taught at home, the homework, should be done in school. And so lots of medical schools nowadays expect from their teachers that they are great teachers in video. And so if someone does a course with Medmastery, then our premise is that we'll turn them into a great teacher in video. And we want to teach essential skills. We want to be the platform that teaches medicine Pareto principle style. I don't know if you know the Pareto principle, but Wilfredo Pareto was an economist in 19th century Italy. And if you're wondering what Wilfredo Pareto has to do with medical teaching, then you'll get the answer real soon. So what he discovered was that he advised banks at the time, and he discovered that 80% of the wealth of these banks' customers is owned by 20% of the customers. And then he found that this 80-20 principle was applicable to other areas outside of banking too. He discovered that 80% of the peas in his garden were produced by 20% of the pea plants, and that if you look at your daily to-do list, if it's like mine, it's probably super long every day, but there are only 20% of the to-dos on my list every day yield 80% of the value, of the impact. And it's my job to identify the most impactful to-dos. And medical education is the same. You know, don't learn everything there is to learn. You know, you need to learn. In order to become a great clinician, you should learn the most essential clinical skills that yield the most value. You need to learn the 20% of clinical skills that will help you solve over 80% of your clinical problems. And if you approach learning from that perspective, then you will be very, very efficient, because time is your most valuable asset. It's your most non-renewable, most valuable asset. And so you need to identify the skills that will ultimately have the most bang for your buck, if that's applicable to time, right? And so you need to learn the most important skills. And that's where Medmastery comes into the picture. We survey thousands and thousands of users, learners, doctors, and we ask them, what is it you'd like to learn from us? What are the most important clinical skills? And then they give us answers in these surveys, and we get a very clear image. What is it they'd like to learn? And then we go out and we try to find the best teachers on these subjects. We have a team of recruiters, and they reach out to great medical teachers everywhere in the world, and we try to get them to work with Medmastery. And ultimately, we bring them to Austria. We record a course together so that we can teach you from your living room. And that's ultimately what Medmastery is all about. So please ask me questions. This is a live video, and I would like to actually experience what it's like to interact with you guys. So please just shoot me a question. I believe I can see these questions if they're being asked. There's no question yet, so I don't really know if it's working or not. But ultimately, if you guys don't have any questions, and that would be a shame, but if you don't have any questions, then I would actually encourage you to become teachers. You know, like, I think being a teacher is the best way to learn a subject. So when I started out in the clinic, I started a study on young myocardial infarction patients who were below age 40. And I had not even recruited 2 patients into this study, but my attending already told me, well, you are the young myocardial infarction patients guy, and you will teach our doctors about it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it. I haven't even recruited a handful of patients, but but by giving lectures, by teaching others, I had to become an expert. And you should try to teach others in the things that you learn, because that is the best and most efficient way for you to become an expert. You know, this immediately after you learn something, try to teach it to someone else. Because, you know, the big advantage is if you're a novice expert, as opposed to someone who's been an expert for 20 years, is you remember what it is like to be a novice. You know what it is like, or what the things are that are hard to grasp when you're in the beginner's shoes, right? The expert who's been an expert for 20 years, they can't remember what it was like to be a novice. And so they will teach you from this pedestal, you know, and they will cite studies and whatnot. But if you're a novice expert, then you really understand what they need to know. So that's, I think, one of the most important mindsets for me personally to become really good at something is to constantly teach. And you need to learn how to teach. You know, you should actually start producing your own medical teaching videos, like we do at Medmastery, right? This is the video teaching revolution in medicine. This is the era of the flipped classroom, where people will no longer learn in a lecture hall. They will try to learn from the best video that they can find online, be it on YouTube or be it on Medmastery or wherever. There are a couple of sites out there that offer great teaching. If you come to Medmastery, you have a guaranteed quality, a minimum quality of teaching videos, right? We have a system where, you know, many people check the quality of our videos, but I'm sure that you could get a great medical education if you have the time to find all the gems of videos on YouTube. So, we have a first comment. Good idea about teaching. Thank you so much, Dina. I'm glad you like that idea. And, you know, if someone says, hey guys, I would like to try out medical teaching, online teaching, you know, you could always shoot us an email at support@medmastery.com, and we can figure out if we could work together. But, you know, we can only work with someone who's already great. So I would suggest you guys download a software like ScreenFlow, for example, that can record the screen, or Camtasia if you're on a PC. Then, you know, record, or like if you have an iPad, you know, just the scribbling app, Explain Everything is a great app to record videos that are Khan Academy-like. So go out, teach in order to become an expert. That's my key takeaway message for you guys. And so, any other questions? Do you guys have anything? Tell me where you're from. Like, I would love to know where you guys are from. Come on, you can do it. Russia, nice. Russia, I've never been. I've just had an email conversation with someone from Russia. I would love to go to Russia. Which subject would you be at soon? I got mail. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, the subject that we're gonna add next week is ultrasound-guided nerve blocks. And that's such a tremendously important skill. So when you're in the emergency room, someone comes into the emergency room with a dislocated shoulder like I had a month ago, and that hurts like hell. I can't tell you. I was swimming in the ocean, the wave caught me, and it just dislocated my shoulder because it just hit me hard on the ground of this on the beach ground. I don't know how to say it, but it hurt like hell. My wife put it back in, and I'm super thankful for that. But it hurt like hell. But if you can do ultrasound guided nerve blocks, then you put in the needle exactly where you need it with the help of ultrasound, and it's a fantastic and tremendously valuable skill. And we're going to launch a course on that next week from a teacher who is just amazing, an amazing teacher. And I think you're going to really love it. Ismadeep, who asked the question. Any other questions? So, great work. God bless you. Hey, you too, likewise. Thanks for being part of it. So, when you want to produce great teaching videos, you need to pay attention to video length. Video length is one of the most important aspects that you need to focus on. The guys at edX, which is a collaboration between Harvard and MIT, looked at what makes teaching video engaging, and they looked at thousands and thousands of teaching videos, and one thing they found is that the sweet spot for a great and engaging teaching video seems to be 6 minutes. So don't produce a teaching video that's longer than 6 minutes. If you teach a topic that needs more time, then break it up in more videos, more chunks, because we're constantly getting push notifications. We're on these devices that have push notifications. So if you produce a video that's going to be watched on a mobile phone, then you better make sure that the person watches it. And in order for you to make sure that they watch it, it needs to be short, right? So that's one thing. Make it short. Then try to speak in an engaging voice. Voice is super critical. Right? Research has found that if you speak slowly, then people will drop off, right? It's not engaging, right? That's why people very often would speed up videos. So talking speed is important. And then what we found is that, the way you present your information is super critical. And knowing what to leave out is another key thing, right? Don't be that guy that wants to teach, or that girl who wants to teach everything, right? Just to make sure that people get everything, right? So I'm going to present the British guidelines, the American guidelines, the European guidelines, the German guidelines, right? Just to make sure. But that's not good, because the learner will have to make a decision. Hey, what am I going to focus on? Am I going to focus on the German guidelines, the British guidelines, the American guidelines? What am I going to focus on, right? Don't do that. Just tell them what it is that you would do with a specific patient, right? I once had a conversation. I don't know if you know Uptodate. You probably do. Uptodate is this amazing resource which was founded by Bud Rose. And Bud Rose is a genius nephrologist. And I once had the great fortune to talk to Bud Rose, the founder of Uptodate. And he told me when he instructs his authors, he tells them to write an article in a way as if they were seeing an actual patient. Give very concrete recommendations in your articles, Don't say, oh, you could do this or you could do that and you could do the other thing, right? No, say, there are lots of things you could do. This is the thing that I always do. I would recommend you do that. And that's how these up-to-date articles are structured. And I thought that was very great advice. So when you teach, if you teach someone, try to be that guy who gives very specific recommendations, right? Don't present anything that could be done, right? I think you get the point. So Dina says 6 minutes would be great to watch in transport. Yeah, exactly, right? When you're on a commute or when you're just taking a break for a coffee, right? That's exactly the time frame. You know, the shorter the better. I think 4 minutes works even better if it's possible to do. How much time do these videos take to make? Well, you know, that's very hard to say because it depends how much time you spend in preparation, because usually the foundation of a teaching video is a presentation. Very often it's PowerPoint or Keynote. Then you should not have a lot of text on these slides, which is good in preparation, right? It probably saves you time. Our rule is no more than 6 words per slide. Sometimes we exceed that, but usually that's our mantra. And then, you know, make it simple. Like the text, your voice is the text. Don't have text on the slides. I think PowerPoint has really ruined the way people teach medicine, because with PowerPoint, everyone thinks that having bullet points is a good thing or is like the thing to do, which is bullshit. Sure, sorry for the language, but it's really ruining everything, right? So you should think in images. We like to, you know, recommend when you create a teaching video, what you should do is you should actually have a role model, not other kind of presenters at a conference, right? Your role model should be cartoons. Your role model should be documentaries, right? And think about it. If you were to watch a BBC documentary of sub-Saharan Africa and you were to see an elephant walk through the bush and then you saw bullet points, elephant, there's a couple of thousand kilos, you'd be like, what are these guys doing? Why are they having bullet points in this BBC documentary? You would hate it, right? So why are we doing bullet points to our learners? I think it's just a bad habit and only should be done occasionally. So I usually recommend to read the book Presentation Zen by Gar Reynolds. And if you read that book, you know, the way you teach will be transformed and you will be an amazing teacher and you will be a great mentor to your learners. So I think that's it for now. I mean, like we've already, we're 18 minutes through. So any last questions? I mean, I could go on and on the topic forever because, you know, teaching is my great passion and teaching is what Medmastery is all about. And we really want to change the way medicine is being done and being taught. And we're constantly thinking, what are the skills that the doctors of the future will need? Because we're well aware that, you know, artificial intelligence, with the advent of artificial intelligence, a lot of what we do right now will be done by algorithms in the very close future. Like you will be surprised, you'd be surprised, you know, how fast this is going to come. So what are the skills that you will need 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road? You know, those are the questions, or even 10 years down the road. Those are the questions that we constantly think about. We're in communication with lots of experts from around the world all the time about this subject. And we want to produce courses on the skills that are going to be still relevant in 10 years time, you know, 15 years time. That's already pretty far in the future, but this is what we're about. And I hope you're going to check out the courses that we have in our course library. And I'm super grateful that you've been part of this short session and that you're part of our journey. And I wish you all the best. And I hope that we get to meet soon. So with that being said, take it easy.